Okay, welcome to the Sonible Smart EQ3 review. I knew this was coming out. I was going to get up super early and make this review, but as you can see from the shirt, I am not a morning person, assuming that it's not reversed or something. That's what it says, yeah. And the Smart EQ3 is based on the, I'm going to go ahead and say it's based on the Sonible Balancer, which is based on the Smart EQ2. So the Balancer really took the concept of the Smart EQ and applied it to, this was a free plugin that they worked on in conjunction with Focusrite for some reason. So you could, at some point in time, you may still be able to get the Sonible Balancer for free, and this was used to create profiles for instruments and then create an equalization curve for those instruments. Specifically, you would select kick for kick and bass for bass and whatnot. And so the Smart EQ3 takes that technology a step further and then allows you to mix elements, up to 6 elements together, and then it will create space in a spectral way for all of the instruments, giving priority to the ones that you decide are more important. Okay, that's a lot of words. So I'm going to play you before we've done any smart EQing, and then the after. So this is the before. It's a pretty basic beat. I'm making a ton of music right now on my other channel, which I previously reviewed the aforementioned Sonible Balancer. I'll try to put a link to it. I think I have to put it in the description for another channel, my music channel over there. And on this channel, though, we go into stuff that helps you get songs done. Plugins, virtual instruments, AI, all that kind of stuff, mixing. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you want to get your songs done faster. Okay. And now diving into the after, which I'll play magically here. Okay, now we are going to start using the Sonible Smart EQ3, and I'm going to drag it onto the actual kick track, and we're going to select a kick profile from the factory profiles, and you hit this little green record button and press play, and it will analyze your kick drum. And when your kick drum's not playing, look, it stops. It's so smart. It is a smart EQ. How genius is that? Okay. And now it gives me this beautiful EQ curve that I can apply to make it sound like every other kick in existence. So 100% is like everything it's doing, 100% EQ curve. Now I could do the opposite, and this would give me a, yep, that is a terrible sounding kick drum. So if you ever need a really terrible sounding kick drum, just run that in opposite mode there. Okay, and boom, lots of boom. I like that, plenty of boom. I think maybe 75% is probably where it's at. Also, something cool you can do that is unique to Smart EQ3 is this dynamic option. Now for a kick drum, I don't think we need to dynamically EQ it, but for several other instruments that change over time, I think adding that dynamic knob is going to be very important. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to do this on all of the drums. So we got the kick, and then we're going to get the snare, and we're going to select the snare profile and do the same thing. And we'll go through all the drums, and then once we have all the basic profiles set up with the drums, I'm going to show you the group function for mixing the drums. So we're going to actually have the Smart EQ3 do a drum mix for us. We're going to go at 75% for pretty much all of these, 75-ish%. I've got another snare here, and I have to move to a different part of the song. Trying to do this as fast as possible. For the clap, I don't think there's a clap profile. So we could either use like a universal profile, or in this case, I'm just going to use the snare also for the clap. It's close enough. Actually, I'm going to leave it about 75. And then what I'm going to do here is you can drag the, I don't know what this is, the outskirts slider. So we can have it just not affect this part. So I don't want to add a bunch of mud to the clap. So we're just going to go do that. Maybe a little bit of mud, just like, okay. And we'll move over to cymbals, cymbal time. We'll select is there a cymbal? I think there's hi-hat. Okay, cool. Whoa, that's very hi-hatty. All right, hear it now. In this track, I use the hi-hat. Not so much. Great. Okay, so this is the shape that it thinks a hi-hat should be. Still not sure I want to add all this extra low end again, so we'll keep that there. And just move right along to the next cymbal. Got one more cymbal track, and then we'll have all the drums. So let me just analyze this. It's supposed to sound like that. Maybe a little bit. Okay, so now we have all of the drums, so we can assign them to a group. So you just hit the Join Group button, and we'll name it Drums. That makes sense. So the cymbals, not the most important, and we're going to put those on the least important level. So we're going to assign all of these. This is the first cymbal track. We're going to join the drum group that we just made. Now we have more cymbals, also not important, but claps, probably level 2. This is the snare, join group, and snare 2, join group, drums. And we got a kick drum here. So you have to do that for each thing. Now we have all of our drums here. I'm going to put the kick in the front because I like to make the kick louder. And I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so I can see here. You have to push this button for it to spectrally compensate for the other instruments. So this is interesting. So it's getting these two. I need to get this other snare here, which I know plays over here. Just can't do it all at once, can you? There we go. All right, now we have all the instruments being spectrally morphed, I guess. Okay, with this group impact setting, if I want the kick to be louder, I just turned this all the way up, and so it's making, you can see the graph where the EQ curve is just going up altogether on the kick, and it's taking down the level of the hi-hats and cymbals a little bit, and it's not really messing with these levels too much. Now, I imagine if you had more dynamic things going on, different types of instruments, this would morph quite a bit more. I kind of think that's a good drum sound. We're going to go with that. And we're going to use the Smart EQ to mix everything in this track based on what we're doing now. Hopefully, it sounded good. So right now, you could theoretically go back and put the Smart EQ on every single instrument and then select the instrument that it is from a list and create an EQ profile. Now I've kind of mixed all of these instruments to sound the way that I sort of want them. But what I'm going to do is do it on subgroups, which I still have a lot of. So what I'm going to do is drag in the Smart EQ 3 on the keys bus, and we'll select from the factory profile keys. Hey. Then we'll hit the record button, and here we go. Now they're playing, analyzing the keys. And if we want to hear specifically what it's doing now, the keys are a quiet track. It's just doing this kind of thing. So I think for the keys too, I want it to be a little more dynamic because I think there's a couple of different instruments that play throughout the track on this bus, one or two. So I'm gonna make this dynamic, right? So I can do this. So now the EQ curve changes, and I know it's hard to hear because this track is so quiet in the mix. I can turn it up. There we go. And if I mute this, hopefully you can hear the difference. It was harsh before. And this sort of mellows it out a little bit. So there we go. So we have that broad EQ curve going, and I don't really want to add this mud here, and you can tell what frequencies you're doing because it says what frequency. Okay, that's not too muddy. That's like, that's pretty high, right? That's 5. Okay, that's strange that 560 is the low. Oh boy. Yeah, let's just keep that there. Okay, it doesn't really show the frequency that I'm adjusting, which is really weird. Because I think 560 is this middle one, right? Not 100% sure. All right. I know this is not 560 hertz. How could it be? So this is version 1.0. So they've got some kinks to work out, but yeah, we'll just roll some of this super low end. We don't need that. All right. And we'll do a smart EQ on the pads, and we're going to select pads. I named my tracks so appropriately, and then now I have to select pads again. So it's just a little confusing. There is no pad, but there's a synth. Now I can hit record there. Maybe I got a different part of the song here. I think they all pretty much sound the same. It's doing the same thing. It's adding a nice bit of beefiness. I've got some of this dynamic on, which I like. And let me just mute this, because you can hear I can hear the pads better, right? I mute it. It's just keeping it from poking out too much. It's warming it up a bit, adding some low end here. That's, I mean, pads are supposed to have that, I think. I'll go on to the next one. I'm gonna use the same profile as synth. Got some different kind of sounds going on here. Yeah, some of the high end getting knocked off. It was a little piercing. It's a lot better, actually. This might be an instance where I need to go back to the original tracks and re-EQ them, but for the purposes of this video, we're gonna keep moving along here. So I've got my keys, my pads, my lead bus, and now what I do when I mix is I give the kick drum its own bus. So I'm going to use a smart EQ on the kick drum again, and I probably won't use it. I probably won't let it process too much since I'm already processing the kick before it gets to this bus. But just out of curiosity, who knows? It's really loud, that's for sure. There we go. Interesting. This with the dynamic thing on. This is the profile it gave me. So before I had 75% of the processing applied, so I think this is just the other 25%, if you will, EQ curve. That's trying to just get me all the way there. It just wants me to go all the way. I don't hate it, actually, so I'm gonna leave it there. And then I'm gonna do the drums overall, but not all of the drums, all the drums except for the kick. And then I will use I'll cheat, I'm gonna use the drum profile. And I know it's probably gonna make my snare hit a little harder than I want in the low end, because it probably thinks there's supposed to be a kick drum here, but just, it's not too muddy, yeah. So this is my drum track here. And what I'm gonna do is, I really want that high end in the drum track to be rolled off a little lo-fi-ish. So I'm just gonna do that, right? And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the Smart EQ3 to mix pretty much our entire track. So we're gonna create a new group called Mix. And right now we got the drums here, and we'll add all of these other Smart EQs to the mix group. Make the lead bus, we'll add the pads, and this is lots of fun, very entertaining stuff. Keys bus, oops, I had you right there, I had you. The downside to this is that you can only do 6 different tracks, so I've conveniently made it so that I have 6 tracks. So what you can do is do like I did before with the drums, is create a submix, and then create a submix and another submix, and then mix all of the submixes together, which is what we're doing here with 6 smart. Let's see, we got the perk bus. What am I missing? Oh, the bass bus, the bass. I did forget to do the bass, so let's do the bass. It does have a profile for the bass as well. Hit the button there, hit record, get the good low end. Now I've already adjusted the bass a lot, and I've added a bunch of extra mid-range and high end, which it looks like it's trying to take out. We'll go with it. We'll go with it for now. This is what it's doing to the bass. Put the dynamic on, it does it less, and then I guess when I don't know why it would do it less when it's on, but hey, that's what you got. It's a very static bass. This is what it wants it to do. I'm just gonna let it go for now, and then we're gonna do the mix. You need to have this bass join the mix group. It's a little bit of a clunky way to work, I think, is having to do all this, but I will say it is seemingly easier than the isotope version of this, which attempts to mix and actually get the levels of your song, which this does not exactly do. So now we have to learn, again, all of these tracks together, and I'm gonna hit record, and it's gonna listen to every single track. How great is that? Oh, that is great. So the bass is in the back here, and we do want the bass. We definitely want the bass like more. We want it front, then we can pull these pads back. Oop, made the pads and the keys, put those on level 3, layer 3, level 3, layer 3, one or the other. Now we have like a hierarchy to our mix, and then this, it is shaping the bass differently. Look at that, it's adding more bass, which is a lot. That's a lot. So I think what I want to do is actually, maybe I'll put the bass on the second level. I don't want it to add more bass. I've already tried to tame that, so I can add a little bit. So we'll do like 100. And I'm going to bypass every single everything. But this is before. This is after. Before. Now it's not mixing for you per se, it's not adjusting levels exactly, it's adjusting the spectral dynamics, if you will, of your groups here for EQ3, and then filling in the gaps and taking away things, so giving priority to what you have up here, and then giving second priority to the L2, and no priority whatsoever this last bit, which is fine because they're there to fill out the rest of the mix. Now, once I've done this, I think I can actually increase the level of the keys bus, which I did already, and the pads, I could actually turn it up a little bit since it's fitting in a little better. Turn the level of the pads up. That kick drum, stupid loud right now. Do I want to turn it down? I kind of do this. I kind of mix this way, and then I usually actually mix into my mastering software. So I'll mix it to Ozone or a limiter or something, and chop that kick right down to bits. So this is actually very similar to how I mix. I know we're clipping here, but hopefully it doesn't sound terrible. And that's going to have to be my review. I can add my 2 cents here. I've got to add my 2 cents because in the headphones, I can tell a difference. This is the mix before. This is the mix after. I know my kick drum is super loud. This is how I do it. Okay, I hit that master bus hard, and it turns out sounding all right after I smash it to bits. It's making pretty drastic changes to the drums, so I would say like it really does have a large influence on the individual tracks. Going back, I may have to go back and put one on every track and just add that extra bit of goodness to the mix, but I think overall you get a sense of what's going on, and these AI tools are coming such a long way. And if you want to know more about using AI tools to create music, to mix, to do all those things, make sure you are subscribed. I'm thinking about making a course about using Orb Producer. If you want to check out my Orb Producer video, it's up here somewhere, to make tracks super fast. And I'm thinking about making a template that I'm going to give away. Right now I have the old template. You can go ahead and download that. That link should be in the description. I'm going to make a new template for the AI creating a beat. I think what I'll do is I'll put the Orb Producer suites and maybe the Smart EQ. I know it's about $100 right now, I think, as the intro price. Super good deal, super deal. And those of you that have Smart EQ2, you can upgrade for a very low price. I believe it was $29 US. And comparing it to Neutron, I feel like I should say something because it doesn't do exactly what Neutron does. It's very similar. I feel like the next level where this is going to go, Isotope does it. But for whatever reason, I do like the sound of Smart EQ3 more than what Neutron does. What Isotope Neutron does is very audible and has this like, strange bright artifacts to everything, whereas Sonible just seems more smooth. Sonible's EQ curves are smooth, the dynamics are smooth, everything just feels more glued together with Sonible. Moving forward, I'm going to use iZotope products less, and Sonible Smart EQ and Sonible products maybe a little more. As far as mastering, I'll probably still go into Ozone. And yeah, if this video helped you in any way or informed your purchasing decision, go ahead and hit the like button. I'm not an affiliate for Sonible yet, I don't think so. I still will put a link in the description. Hopefully I'll be an affiliate soon. Yeah, maybe I could do that. Oh, if you like the music, you can follow the music channel. I'm going to start posting more over there soon. And that's it. And until next time, let's get some songs done. You know, this channel is all about getting songs done. So I'm going to turn this back on.